everybody, and welcome back to the Breaking Bad Rewatch podcast. Today we are covering the first half of Season 2, so basically everything leading up to the introduction of Saul Goodman right before he shows up. I think it's episodes 1 through 7, is that right, boys? 1 through 8, 1 through 7?
No, 1 is right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 8.
And I am Simian Jimmy, joined as always by Hartsy Protzy.
Hello.
Rich McCoy.
Yeah.
Bitch! Okay, good. When you started screaming, Discord was cutting you off severely.
Well, they know.
Every time.
And Florian Himsel.
Yeah, I've seen this show too many times. Hello, everyone.
No such thing. Now, people might be wondering, why are we only doing half the season? Why not just, do a whole season at a time? And the answer, of course, is that this show is very dense. Every frame, there's so much going on. And if I'm going to be honest, I could do an entire TED Talk just on the season 2 premiere episode. I could probably give a 2-hour dissertation about it. So I think it's, for the sake of us and for the sake of the quality of the show, it's better if we slow it down a bit, only review 7 or 8 episodes at a time. And let me just say my opening thoughts. If season 1 was like a solid 8.5 out of 10, season 2 is when I think it really just jumps straight to 10 out of 10. This is some top tier television.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree that season 2 is really where Breaking Bad gets its standing.
Okay, so here's my kind of overall season 2 kind of take is that I think the show is much stronger. I think it's starting to focus in on the characters a bit more, which I like. Season 2 is when I really start to get a good sense of Jesse. It's when Jesse kind of gets thrown into the fire for a lot of this. But I start to hate Walt in these first couple episodes of season 2.
Oh, well,
he sucks so much.
Guys, think about it this way. The final episode of season 1, there's this conversation between Walt and Hank about the ambiguity of, the crimes Walt is committing. And it's like, There's so much gray here. Is Walt actually a bad guy for what he's doing? Very next episode. If you're watching this in a binge, it's literally 20 minutes later, Walt is raping his wife.
Yeah.
There's no ambiguity. The writers are like, no, this guy's not that good.
I'm shocked that people put up with his shit from season 2 on. He is just a fucking terrible, spiteful man.
But not to be a rape apologist here, okay? But
every time someone starts a sentence and then says "but," the thing they just said is completely not what they're saying. Everything after "but" is what they're saying. Go on, monkey, go on.
I don't think if Walt was in his correct state of mind, he would have been raping Skyler against the fridge. He is traumatized. He basically is in a fugue state. We see him staring off into space, and we hear it from his perspective, it's all staticky and shit, or that humming. He just saw a man get murdered, and he thought it was about to happen to him as well. So I'll give him 1% benefit of the doubt that he does not have his full mental capabilities, but there is no excuse for rape at all.
He's pretty fucking bad.
On the bright side, if you listen very closely to that scene, you can hear a Saul Goodman commercial very faintly on the TV.
Is that true?
Why? Hey, Hartsy, why the fuck were you rewatching that scene repeatedly to be able to tell that there was that commercial going on?
I just have very good hearing.
As Walter Jr., he was curious how that guacamole got all over the fridge. Or whatever that fucking face mask was.
Okay.
Walter is just so horny from having witnessed all these bloody deaths. I mean, he clearly couldn't contain himself.
Well, that also, that happens all the time in season 1. He'll do some badass shit and then go home and start fucking.
I want to talk about the very beginning of this season, because I really fucking hate how they do the very beginning of the scene. Because they replay what we saw at the end of season 1, which was Tuco beating the ever-loving shit out of his one guy and basically killing him, right?
Yeah.
And then we come back to that having just happened, and then Tuco circles back around and then beats the shit out of his other guy immediately after, right?
Yeah.
No?
No, I think he
comes
crushed
back
by
because the guy is now dying and like convulsing in his car, and he thinks that Heisenberg can help.
Yeah, he doesn't beat anyone up the second time.
I just really wish.
Oh wait, he beats up the corpse, right? I forgot.
Yeah. Like I just really wish they had like left Tuco to go off and do whatever the fuck else. It seems like the only reason they had to do that was to restate what the audience had just seen, so that we're going into the season with that in our minds. But you just showed us the scene already again.
Well, no, it's important because we need to see them hiding the corpse under the trash pile, so that because it's part of the plot later. Like who killed?
They find that.
Yeah, who killed the other henchman? And then it's like a big mystery, and it leads to a great misunderstanding.
He wasn't dead yet, so I mean they added that part to it. But yeah, I think it was over the top. It didn't need to be. I think he would have been scary enough without literally committing a murder right in front of them.
Right. To me, it's just repeatedly underlying the like Tuco is an insane fucker point, which I think is worth doing. But like we just got that last season, so I'm like, it seems restating the point too much.
To be fair, Rich, 5 minutes earlier in the canon, he did just snort some Heisenberg meth, and those meth
that's
heads,
true.
They're not usually, they don't behave in ways that make sense.
I gotta give it to you. He did just do some meth.
Yeah, that's an excuse for most of the mistakes in the show. Like, oh, well, that character's probably on meth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we really, anyone who thinks that Heisenberg isn't just pure evil, like there are so many examples of meth ruining so many lives in this show. It's just bizarre that anyone could think, oh yeah, well yeah, Walt's just doing libertarianism. He doesn't mind what the customers do, right?
Hey, Gale gives a whole speech about that in a later season, I believe.
Yeah.
I actually think Walt is pretty base the majority of the show, not gonna lie.
Well, let's hear about that, Hartsy. What's the most base part about raping your wife, Hartsy?
Notice I said majority of the show. That's not an included part. I actually skip that scene every time I watch the series.
Yeah, it makes you too horny? You're like, oh, I can't. Not today.
I like to pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's not canon to Hartsy.
It's not canon.
Oh, you just skip everything that's bad? Is that why he's based?
He skips entire episodes.
Yeah.
Oh no, I rewatched the scene where he lets Jane die over and over again.
Yeah, but we're not getting to that today.
Yeah,
sadly.
I would argue that this season 2 premiere is the Ozymandias of its time because what is so great about Ozymandias? It's like all of Walt's mistakes are culminating in this one explosive, horrible, episode, and it's like the highest stakes of the family drama with him, fighting his family and kidnapping Holly.
Yeah.
This episode has all of those same exact elements. Like, this is the culmination of all of Walt's bad decisions in season 1 culminate here, where at the end of the episode, Tuco is kidnapping him and Jesse. Like, Walt is finally facing life or death consequences for his actions. Meanwhile, we have that great scene with Skylar in her bathrobe, like, going off on Hank, like listing off all the reasons why her life is terrible, and she's like, and now my husband keeps disappearing, and he's not being honest with me, and all blah 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 blah. I was gripped by this opening episode. I think they really wanted to fire on all cylinders to bring the show back after the writer's strike. And if you really just maybe it's because I have the closed captioning on, so I'm like really into everything that is happening and everything that they put into the script. But I feel like this has all the elements of an early Ozymandias.
Interesting.
But
So
nobody gives a fuck.
Does it really end with him being kidnapped? Is that the starting episode?
Yeah, and then like I would argue this season 2 episode 1 is the best episode of the show up to that point, and then maybe even the follow-up episode is even better than that, because then we have I love the anxiety and the stress and the horror of Walt and Jesse trying to poison Tuco while wheelchair Hector is keeping his
just sitting there,
keeping his winky eyes on them.
Episode 2 is my second favorite episode of this season. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you're bringing up the first episode so much when, like, the second one is the more interesting one to me.
Well, you guys clearly have never dealt with any anxiety in your life. You know, when Walt is like staying up all night, staring out the window because he's afraid, like he sees, suspicious vehicles on his street and he just can't sleep. Like that is some high stress fucking anxiety level shit here. So maybe it was just relatable for me.
And then
Paranoid
and then the actual vehicle that he's afraid of actually shows up. He just doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, he doesn't know it's Jesse's car.
It's just so amazing. There wasn't even a really good reason for Tuco to kidnap him if his stupid henchman hadn't disappeared. Oh, God.
Well, yeah, that's why... lay epic misunderstanding. I like that Walt is about to confess everything to Skylar while she's in the bathtub, and then like he goes outside and gets kidnapped by Tuco, and now he's gone for days. So much great stuff in that episode.
Oh, you really thought he was gonna confess everything? Wow.
I mean, he was pretty much doing that, I think.
I mean, it felt like he just admitted to himself that he just doesn't even know what to do. But I didn't think as far as that he would like actually admit everything.
Well, this is the first time that it's the first time that like his personal life is being threatened. Like now these people know where he lives, and he lives there with his family, and he can't sleep. So I could see him like cracking under the pressure and like, okay, like he says to Skylar, "Where do I even begin?" And then his phone rings and he leaves the room. So I think if he did not get that phone call, he might have confessed and they might have gotten the fuck out of there.
Yeah, that's one thing I really admire about the show, like especially in such an early going, is that they really let things have consequences pretty immediately, where everything that Walt and Jesse do, all their slip-ups, all their little problems that they set up for themselves, they all come into play. So like Walt, for several episodes in this chunk of the season, is not really doing any fucking drug dealing or selling or anything because he has to sell the idea that he's had this like break with reality, and he's got to try to be the good husband. I just love like that they spent a couple episodes doing that.
Yeah, it reminds me of Death Note when like El has finally caught Kira.
Yep.
And we have to have like a 15 episode arc of him like losing his memories and shit just to get out of that one situation.
Right.
Hartsy, go ahead. Tell me about why you love episode 2 so much, because I agree with you.
Oh, because I think it's like the first episode in the entire show where it's like where the stakes get like really, really high. Like I just love seeing them. They're like fish out of water, like stuck in this cabin with a crazed maniac and a man in a wheelchair, and they're trying to get out. It's fun. It's fun to watch.
And I would say, and this is skipping a few episodes ahead, but one of my favorite moments of the section we watched is when Jesse is being interrogated by Hank, and Hank's like, "Oh, we got the ace in the hole, baby. That old wheelchair guy that we found, we're gonna bring him in, and now yeah. Jesse's fucked." And the fact that Hector watched Walt and Jesse try to poison Tuco. He probably knows that Jesse shot the motherfucker, and he still stays loyal. He will not tell the police anything.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that so much. Hector is an S-tier character. I don't care what anybody says.
No, it really is.
It's true. He's so good. I love how they use the board to make him say what day it is and what planet it is, only just for him to just shit on the floor.
This happens a lot where
funny moments
where everyone is trying to like put Hector down and make it seem like he doesn't know what's going on. He's just not conscious of anything, and then repeatedly he either shows that he absolutely is, or in order to spite the cops is like shits himself in the fucking police station.
Well, to me, this is probably a slightly unpopular opinion, but I think that Hector is only been made better by the fact that we have the prequel where we see that he is just such a fully realized character. But then we go back to this episode and we see that he was equally fully realized in this, and it was just so gripping how he was saving Tuco from being poisoned and how he was not wanting to talk to the cops. It's just so amazing.
Yeah, like, it's a tragic story of like a man who has full mental capabilities, but he's trapped in like the prison of a body that does not work anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've seen him. He would have never talked to the cops before either, and he would have tried to save Tuco. I guess it is specifically written to be the same character, but I don't know. I feel like he's all there in this one episode, but then seeing him in Better Call Saul is just also equally great.
So
You
wait,
can suck my balls.
so Florian, are you saying that without Better Call Saul, he would be just as well-rounded of a character, even though you thought that Better Call Saul really increased your appreciation for him?
Well, I'm just saying that he's so well done in this first episode, but then but you think maybe he's just he has very limited choices considering that he's in a wheelchair, so he may have just lucked into making the most interesting choices, but now we know that he really is.
What do you mean he's lucked into making the most interesting choices?
I mean, the most interesting choice that he makes later when he does that thing with Gus,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I want to spoil it yet. I mean, all he had to do was ring the bell and Walt set everything else up. So that was probably the most meaningful act of his life. But
Hey, we'll get to that sometime in 2023. Okay, let's calm down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't spoil it.
I honestly hated Hector in Better Call Saul, but I think that's purposeful, and I think that's just really goes to show how good of a character he is. I hated him.
He's S tier no matter what Hartsy says.
Yeah, I love how he was poisoned.
No, I mean it in a good way.
Okay.
Yeah, he was purposely an asshole, and you're happy when he gets poisoned. It's great.
Speaking of poisoning, I love how, despite this episode 2 being extremely tense, extremely suspenseful, they're still plugging humor into it, and it's like I'm almost laughing while hiding behind my hands.
Yeah.
This is when they make the ricin, the lay epic poison that does not get paid off until literally the finale of the show. And they're trying to convince Tuco that the ricin is meth so that he'll snort it and die. And Jesse ruins the plan by saying, "Yeah, I made that myself with a secret ingredient. Chili pea, yo."
Chili pea,
and he immediately throws it away.
I don't want that. Yeah.
Hey, come
so
on!
amazing.
That is so unfair to Jesse. What is the chance that you'll have a crazed Mexican who doesn't like chili powder? Come on.
Wow.
Yeah, Hartsy, how much do you like chili powder?
I not too much actually.
Wow.
Oh, in this
You not like
episode,
spicy food, Hartsy?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, you do? Okay.
well, Hartsy, I got a question for you. Do you remember how much, because they reveal this in episode 2, how much does Walter Jr. weigh?
Oh. No, I don't remember.
Does anybody remember? This is a hot piece of trivia.
And with or without the crutches?
That's what I'm wondering, because it seems kind of high.
I know he mentions it specifically because Walter is actually lower than him now because he lost so much weight.
Yeah.
But I can't remember the number.
165.
Oh
Wow.
my god.
He's a big boy.
He's big, yeah.
Wow.
Good on you, Flynn. I do really like how they reveal that he goes by Flynn now. His friend is driving him, and they've kind of made their own kind of way. But it's just such a great Walt's pride to name his son after himself. It's always such a weird thing to name a kid fucking after your name.
Well, I don't know.
But,
He literally named gray matter after himself as well, so it seems to be a pattern.
Right. It's white. Yeah. And but it's just
that one's a way better name though.
Than
Yeah,
Walt
for
Jr.
sure.
Yeah.
But it's just people are starting to make their own kinds of personalities or definitions outside of what Walt has set out for them. And you see, I think within these episodes, Walt trying to bond a bit with Flynn just because Skylar is off doing whatever she is doing, smoking or whatever.
Oh, we'll get to that. My Skylar watch is in full effect. Does anybody recognize the actor who plays, and he only shows up for one scene, even though he's mentioned throughout the whole show, Walt Jr.'s friend Lewis? Do you guys recognize the actor?
No, I don't know.
I recognize him.
Have you guys ever seen 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri?
Yes,
Yeah,
I have.
he plays the billboard salesman who gets thrown out the window.
Wow, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I love that guy.
What a great career of probably minor characters.
Yeah, I might need to watch that movie eventually.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Well, I think he does it specifically to spite Walt after Walt has been found naked in a supermarket, right? That's why he changed his name.
I think I'm picking up on some new things on the second rewatch, or I guess the 80th rewatch, to be honest. Is it safe to say Walt was inspired to do this fugue state naked at the supermarket thing because of the fugue state in which he raped Skylar? Like, is there a connection here, or was this just a completely out of the blue idea?
Wow.
I think it was more out of the blue than anything.
Yeah.
Oh, because I mean, like, in his mind, 2 days earlier, he was out of his mind and committing sexual, horrible things, and this seems like just the same thing again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's certainly true. I never really bought the fugue state as a excuse for him disappearing. I've always thought that was kind of.
Well, of course you didn't, because you're the viewer. Like,
well, shut up! I'm saying
you know
that
what
the
really
people
happened,
within the
Rich, you
fucking-
dumb fuck.
God damn it! God damn it! I'm saying.
Well, nobody bought it, I think. Like, Skylar knows right away, and Walt Jr. is obviously pretty ashamed of it, so I don't think he bought it either.
Well, I think.
Junior buys
you're
it.
saying that nobody? Yeah, Junior definitely buys it. I think Skylar is like wary and like not sure what's going on because he's definitely had behavior that doesn't seem right before then. I think he gets a lot because he's going through cancer and cancer treatments that people can give him some slack based on that. But the whole idea of I like lost my mind, walked out on my family.
I was walking on the highway and I was afraid of the headlights.
Yeah, right. And then was naked in a fucking grocery store. I just don't. I would not buy that if I was being sold that.
Well, and Skylar has good reason to not believe him because this is when she finds out about the second cell phone, and I think around this time is when a lot of the the real chuds and alpha males in the audience start to dislike Skylar because she is being extremely cold to Walt when she she is under the impression that he's been lying to her and he keeps disappearing. Yeah. So now she's basically giving him a taste of his own medicine and not telling him anything, disappearing from the house.
A complete cold shoulder, a complete
Eventually smoking in the car while pregnant, but that's something else.
That's where it goes a bit far. When you're taking it out on an unborn child to kind of make your husband feel worse. That's kind of bad.
But I
mean, she
I
didn't
think
mean to. Jeez.
I watched this with a more empathetic eye on Skylar, and while I do think she was being too cold to Walt, like these are adults, they should have they're adults. They should have a conversation and talk about their feelings.
She was trying to do that. There is no having a conversation with someone who just lies all the time.
Look, Florian, I fucking hate Walt, so I'm not the one to say give him some slack, but he does have cancer. He does have all of these things in his life kind of falling apart. She doesn't know about the gray matter stuff that he's not accepting their money or whatever. But I think within a holistic way of looking at Walt, you should cut him a bit more slack in order to try to hear him out for some of this stuff.
And I think Walter White makes a huge gaffe here when he's confronted about the second cell phone and he's lying about it, but she so clearly knows he's lying.
Right.
I got a brain blast. I know how to solve this fucking issue, Walt. Use the same lie as before. Say, I'm still smoking weed and I bought a second cell phone to call my fucking dealer so I don't get caught. It's so simple. Just come up with a good lie.
No, but here's the thing. That is Walt's hubris coming through, where he feels like he can successfully lie to his family in any number of ways about any of these things, and then just pass it off as if everybody's happy with that. I'm the good family man again. That is really just him being so self-confident that he can get away with this shit.
But I don't know what you even mean when you say hear him out. There's literally nothing that he would ever tell her. She tries to let him tell her the truth, but he just keeps spouting lies.
Well, at one point, he does sit her down to talk to her.
I know that you're lying to me. I'm not going to hear any more lies from you. You either start telling me, that's how you start. You don't give him the cold shoulder for any number of days, and I don't know, see if he comes out himself. Just fucking tell him, look, I know maybe not what's fully going on, but I know that the shit you're saying to me is not true.
Yeah, and several times Walt says to her, I don't know what you want me to say to you. So, like, just tell him. Just tell him I know you're full of shit.
I know that,
I know you have a second cell phone. Hank fucking looked it up. So tell me what's going on or move out.
It's actually kind of funny how bad Walt is at lying to his family, because there's other instances in the show where he is like a mastermind at lying to get himself out of situations, like terrible situations.
Oh yeah, he's good at lying to Mike, but not so good at lying to Walt. Well, like even Walt Jr. can see through these fucking family breakfasts that Walt is making. Right. Like these are some guilty ass pancakes, Walt.
I think the difference is the people who don't know him like as a family person or as someone who's been around them for a while, he has to both juggle that version of himself as well as what he's trying to sell. With other people who haven't really known him as long, he can kind of just go with what works in the moment, and people kind of have to take him based on that.
Well, I'm sorry, I keep gotta bring this up, okay? Because like I can't stand this sexism from Erich just being so tough on Skylar just because she's a woman. Okay, look, she has been telling Walt to cut the shit for the whole last season, and this season she's already also done that. Like, maybe not explicitly, but she is, like, if you tell her a lie and she walks out of the room, like, this, someone who's supposedly as smart as Walter White would have figured out that it's the lying. That's the problem, you know? Like, you don't need to spell it out that clearly to him. If he's supposed to be that smart, they can have a conversation without always spelling everything out.
Yeah, I have to assume when Vince Gilligan says Walter White is the smartest character in this verse, he does not mean emotional intelligence.
Emotionally, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, he's clearly also not meaning any way that'll any way that will be useful to anyone, you know?
Yeah.
But like Florian, you're fine with Skylar not really talking to him at all, not saying anything, just kind of going about her life, disappearing for large portions of time. Like, it's basically the passive aggression of it is not something that I like in people.
Especially when he's going to be dead in 18 months. Like, come on, time is precious, lady.
These are some of your last moments with your husband and your son together as a family. Either work the shit out or leave him. Like, simple as that.
What, you think that would have been...
Shack up with Ted Beneke, what?
Oh, it's coming.
No, look, the hints have been there. There's no fucking way that he didn't realize how much he hated being lied to, okay? Like, he's the one who keeps doing it.
Surprisingly, he hasn't, because he thinks he's getting away with it, like, partially, like, at the beginning for sure. Like, he's putting on the good family man routine. Like, he really thinks that this is going to work.
I mean, I don't think he does, because he can tell that she keeps walking out on him when he's bullshitting. He must know it. He's just
keeps
too
doing
lazy.
it. That's the thing. He keeps doing it. It's not like he drops the act. Like, okay, it's clear that this isn't working on you.
Well, that clearly tells. Well, it clearly tells you that he's not willing to have a sincere moment with her. So why should she bother? Like, why should she?
She should confront him. She should be like, look, it's clear what you're doing. You're trying to put on a friendly face, try to be the perfect dad. It's not true.
Well, and also Walt is in a position where he cannot be honest with Skylar. Like his goal is to keep the family together. He knows Skylar's willing to cut off her own sister for petty theft. So if he admits to what he's actually doing, like the family is over anyway. So he's really between a rock and a hard place here.
I feel like
because he decides to still do the meth. He still knows that she hates it, and he still does it.
Well, at this point, it's the point of no return. Like, he's already done it, so if he admits to it, the family's over. She's not going to forgive him.
I feel like the show is really well constructed because you have to get Skylar in a place where she is morally compromised enough that once she finds out about the meth cooking and stuff, she will come into that. Like, I think the show is good at, like, putting her down the same kind of path to accept
Breaking Bad.
No, I don't buy that. Look, he could have easily like admitted to some of it. Okay, like he could have admitted to some of the crimes without telling her everything, and then stopped doing them, and he would have been fine, and he could have.
I don't think he would be fine. I don't think he would be fine. No.
No, I think she would have left him if he admitted he was a drug dealer.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, speaking of S tier characters, can we talk a little bit about future Kim, aka Wendy? I love, in addition to Hector having honor among thieves, Wendy does the same thing. She's being interrogated and she's just playing it up completely. Like, she's on Jesse's side. She's pretending to be, all tweaked out when she's really, not. She's begging for root beer. Hank calls her a skinny yeast factory. I thought that was pretty good.
Wendy is a real one. She fucking is not saying shit. She's great.
Yeah, and like Jesse doesn't even have money to pay her. Like, he is broke at this point, and she's still staying true to him. And then after they both get out of the police station, they go to Waffle House together. Like, this is the most wholesome relationship between a drugged out hooker and Jesse Pinkman. I love that. I love Wendy. I think the fact that she's even in Better Call Saul, like, she will help Kim and Jimmy with their scheme. She's top tier for sure.
I like
anybody ever thought that Kim was Wendy?
Yeah, future Kim. She gets addicted to Heisenberg's meth and becomes Wendy.
Wow.
I like Hank's humanization in these episodes, and they will continue going forward. But this is the first time you see that Hank is not just like a macho cop, and that underneath all that, there's some character there. Like, after killing Tuco, he's really struggling with some demons, and it's interesting to see.
Yeah, Hank's
he puts
character.
On the facade. Yeah.
He's 70% racism, 30% PTSD.
Wow, so the PTSD is really that worthwhile of a contribution.
Well, yeah, he's alone in the elevator and he's like having a panic attack.
Yeah, I really like the scene where he's like in his garage making his Schrader Brow bottles, and he's like singing this little ditty to himself, and then he like breaks one of the bottles, and it's such a great little moment.
Yeah, and speaking of that, the show is a liar. Again, I watched this with the closed captionings. We have that scene where Hank is sleeping in bed and he starts hearing gunshots. Freaking out. Goes into the garage, and actually it's just the Schrader Brow bottles exploding. I get that, but with the closed captioning, would you warrant a guess at what the caption says for these little explosions of beer? Gunshots firing. Fuck you. Straight up fucking lying. You could just put like loud explosion, you motherfuckers.
Well,
that wouldn't convey it.
It's a lie. It's literally a lie.
Is it? They don't mix in any gunfire sounds in the audio track at all.
He's just hearing the sound of the beer exploding.
Wow.
And he thinks it's a gunshot.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
It describes what it sounds like. Sorry.
Describes a fucking lie. What, does the closed captioner have PTSD now? He's just interpreting shit in the worst way?
Like he wouldn't understand if it was explosions. You'd just be puzzled. Why are there explosions? Come on.
Just imagine it's a deaf person watching, and you want them in the same state of mind as like a viewer that's not watching closed captions would be in.
Hartsy, the last thing I care about is the perspective of a deaf person. They can't listen to podcasts, so they can get fucked.
Well, you don't want to spoil it for them either,
Yeah.
Like, anyone watching, it says not gunshots, it's actually just exploding.
Florian, I think people who watch closed caption stuff are constantly being spoiled by what's going on.
That is true.
Before it happens.
Another small detail to show how Hank is traumatized by his shootout with Tuco is Walt Jr. is like grilling him about it while they're grilling, of course, and he's like, I want you to hear about the shootout. And, Hank used to have so much bravado and he like would brag about his conquest, but here he's like, no, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, he doesn't want to talk about it at all. Yeah.
Already he's having a character arc, and we're not even to the tortoise yet.
I'm actually surprised he's not able to just kind of like bravado his way through that shit through talking about it. But yeah, that's actually how that works, though. Like, you just can't bring yourself to talk about it.
It's pretty interesting because he was obviously into like gross gore and body parts, but then like he gets freaked out with the turtle thing, and that wasn't even that bad, you know.
Oh, shut the fuck up! That's horrendous. Like, it's the most extreme moment of the show so far.
Not bad either.
People getting exploded and their fucking limbs coming off and shit. That's fucking dramatic.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how he was throwing up because of the turtle head.
Well, that is fucked to see like a decapitated head.
Yeah, but that's not his personality. His personality is taking a picture next to a dead body, as he's done with the guy who was under the truck, you know?
Yeah, but now things have changed now that he's the one in danger. He's not just stumbling upon, corpses anymore. It's like, well, now this could happen to me. Like, this is my informant.
Yeah.
And then it does happen to him 1 second later.
Well, he was just.
But honestly, his panic attack saved him because he had to like take a breather, and because he was away from the turtle, he didn't die.
Yeah, all the other agents were doing what Hank did 3 episodes earlier. Like, they were joking around and like posing next to it, and then they get blown up. So Hank's humanity literally saved his life.
Yeah, his newfound humanity.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, pretty good. I like that he gets Tuco's grill like as a trophy, and then he just doesn't want it. He throws it in the river.
Yeah, he's too spooked by it.
It's much too spooky for Hank.
Can we talk about Jesse in these episodes? Because I think he really stands out to me.
I love the suffering porn of Jesse Pinkman.
Yes!
Well, let's hear about it, E-Rich.
Here's the thing. Like, Jesse, to me, is my go-to character. Like, he's my favorite character in this show. So anytime he is like forced to own up to his decisions about how shit is not going right for him, like, he has such an arc in these episodes, from like poor, homeless, unable to do anything, just going from unfortunate thing to unfortunate thing, also dealing with his own PTSD from the fucking skank and her husband or whatever, and then kind of has a bit more stability, has a place, has a GF by the end of it. It's just such a great like little mini arc for him told throughout this.
He goes from a frightened tadpole to a blowfish.
Man, I always forget about the fucking blowfish scene, and whenever that happens, I just start cracking up again.
Yeah, I kind of don't buy it. Like, I feel like Walt's speech is just complete shit, and it seems like
it's hilarious.
But like Jesse seems genuinely motivated by it, whereas I would be like, fuck off with this blowfish shit, dude. Just give me my weed.
Yeah, I want to be just air, you know?
I think that was like purposefully stupid, just a little bit of humor being spit into the show.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of Jesse's suffering, I think there might be an epic toilet scene in every single season of the show. At some point in every season, a character has their lowest moment of all time involving a toilet. In season 1, it's the security guard who gets tied up in the porta potty. That's his lowest moment. Season 2, Jesse climbs his fence, stands on top of the porta potty. The ceiling collapses, and he falls through. And he's covered in this blue chemicals that make him like he can't breathe, and he has to fall asleep on the floor of the RV with a fucking mask on. That's his low moment. Later on, Hank might have a certain toilet moment that's his lowest moment. So I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled for seasons 3 and 4 if there are any more toilet scenes that really change somebody's life.
And don't forget when Walt flushes the drugs,
Oh yeah, Skyler's cigarette box is found in the toilet.
Oh yeah, and he pees in the toilet and there's blood.
Mm-hmm. Lots of Vince really thinks that the toilet is central to people's suffering.
Yep. Oh, and there's that toilet in Breaking Bad, in Better Call Saul's office. What was that again?
And I think season 1, some guy invented a talking toilet that says, "Oh, fill me up, Scotty. Oh, you're such a big boy."
Oh God!
Why does Vince love toilets so much?
Well, I mean, it's a great pattern, okay? Like, don't question the great artist, all right?
Maybe toilets are like what feet are to multiple other directors.
Tarantino.
Yeah, Tarantino mainly.
Meanwhile, the reason why Jesse is homeless now is because his parents found the meth lab in the basement, which is that's a rough reveal. I
fucking love that scene with his mom talking to him, where like he's just trying to pass things off as if like, yeah, I'm gonna get a job, like things are gonna go well for me. And she's seen the table. She's like, she knows exactly what's going on. It's so fucking rough. All of the Jesse stuff with his parents just hits me. I have never had that kind of adversarial relationship with my parents, but I think that I fear that might be something that happens to me one day. It will not. That's just not even in the cards.
They're gonna find your mess lab.
Yes.
They could. It's possible. And any single day they can find my mess lab.
I think Skylar White should take notes from Jesse's mom. Like, if you know that this person is lying to you, just tell them straight up what's going on and that you've caught them. You know, don't give them any wiggle room to keep lying.
Yeah. I honestly think that like they're probably just so done with Jesse's shit. Like they've probably dealt with him for like years and years. Do we know how old Jesse is?
I think he's 26.
26. So like,
really?
yeah, let's say since he was probably 16 or 17, he's probably been like this. So yeah, for about 8 to 10 years.
Well,
probably.
they had a long time putting it up with it then, so you can't really expect Skylar to immediately leave Walt just because he started lying to her now, you know?
Right. But, you know, they definitely have the better handle on this. But it's so sad to watch. It's so sad that he just gets no quarter from them.
And then Jesse spends 3 episodes trying to get like Walt to help him out, and Walt is just blowing him off, hanging up on him. Eventually, he takes pity on him and gives him $600 instead of like the thousands that he needs.
Right. Oh, and this is really when you start seeing Walter's like complete selfishness, and like Jesse is his partner in this, and I understand the viewpoint of like we split the money, we did what we said we'd do, but then now Jesse is coming back and asking for half of his. I understand why that would be unfair, but like you have to understand that like your partner is with you in all of this, and he is bringing some of it to the table. I think that it's maybe not nearly as valuable as Walt's skills in here, but like he needs Jesse. He needs Jesse to do some of this stuff.
Well, the point was that Jesse got Walt captured by Tuco by bringing him to his house, so that was probably the main reason why he didn't get the money right away.
For sure.
Well, I mean, you're being held at gunpoint. I don't really know if it's Jesse's fault. But what is Jesse's fault is bringing the meth lab RV and parking it in front of Walt's house and Skylar's coming outside. Right. I love the fight when Walt goes in the RV and they're like fighting to the death in there. And like Jesse is about to murder Walt, like he's choking him out. And Walt says, "Do it." I thought that was a very harsh scene. Like Walt at that point, his wife is giving him the cold shoulder, and like his life is falling apart. He sincerely is okay with Jesse killing him at that point.
You think that Walt like wants to die in that moment? Or
I think he does.
He knows that Jesse won't do it.
No, I think he really does. Like I think he has lost everything at that point, and he's given up. Because
I forget. At that point, had the blowfish thing happened yet?
No.
Okay, all right. So the word hasn't gone around that he had killed that guy. Okay.
No, this is before Jesse has an apartment.
That. Okay. All right.
He hasn't actually lost that much at that point. He still had most of the money, right? He just spent it on the cancer treatment. I mean, I guess it was mostly a wash, really.
But I wonder, this scene where Jesse's about to kill Walt and Walt says, "Do it." I wonder if there's like maybe a callback to that in the finale, spoiler alert, when Jesse's holding the gun like, "I want to hear you say that you want it," and then he decides not to kill him again.
Well, there's like 3 times when Jesse's about to kill Walt and Walt says, "Do it." So
that's right. Damn, really? Really? Okay, maybe he does want to die.
There's the season 4, the penultimate episode of season 4, and then the final episode of season 5.
That's right. Yeah, this is a very common occurrence between these two friends. Even though, I'll say this, even though Walt is very mean to Jesse at all times, I feel like there is a wholesomeness to their relationship only because Jesse is the only person on Earth who Walt can be 100% honest with. And I think he might cherish those moments with Jesse because he doesn't have to put up a front anymore. He can just be himself.
Right.
Well, and also because he's driven everyone away.
Well, he has to lie to everybody but Jesse. But then I guess he does lie to Jesse all the time about, other shit.
About everything. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever he fucks everything up, then Jesse is the only one who will put up with him, you know.
Yeah.
But Walt is so bad. Even when he finally picks up the phone and helps Jesse, like even then he immediately like forces him to do such horrible things that have such big problems.
It's so hilarious to me that last episode when we talked about the first season, I was like, I'm not on the fuck Walt side yet. I'm still kind of with Walt. But then the season starts 2 or 3 episodes in, I'm like, fuck this guy. Fuck this motherfucker. When he has the scene with Gretchen, that is definitely when I'm just like, this fucking cunt.
I thought it was so based. I thought it was fucking based. Hell yeah,
of course you do.
Well, so the impression we're supposed to have of Walt is that he was part of Gray Matter and he started it, and then like, oh no, you guys shut me out and I left. And then Gretchen's like telling him what actually happened. Like it's like he brainwashed himself. She's like, no, like you and me were in love and you were jealous that my family was rich and you just like packed your bags and left for no reason. Like what the fuck, Walt? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, just her complete disbelief at what's going on when he's telling her these things. And like, I think people who lie or lie to themselves, they really do believe that that's what happened. Like, you can't live with the real version of what happened. So you have to, in your mind, think, oh yeah, that's totally how it went down.
Yeah, and when he's confronted with reality, he just says, fuck you, and leaves.
Yeah, right.
Nice.
He's got nothing to say that's actually true. So he's just like, fuck you.
And I do think it's very interesting that Gretchen is willing to lie to Skylar, like on Walt's behalf, and like keep his story going. And then she's like, "Oh, actually, we're not giving you money anymore. Bye."
That is so wild.
That's actually what I resort to when people are arguing with me and I have no comeback. Just fuck you.
Walks away.
I mean, that whole scene is amazing, just because like the situation of Skylar coming to you, forcing the issue, because I think at that point Skylar knows that they're not getting money, right? But Skylar is talking to Gretchen as if she's giving all this money, kind of to bait her to tell them, we're not giving you this money actually. But she doesn't do it. She just kind of goes along with what's like the depth of that like tete-a-tete is so great. Like Gretchen just kind of going along with it because that's what people are telling her, seeing what the fucking deal is here. And then the blow up with Walt, it's so well done. It's so well
and
done.
even like Walt is coming home from school and he sees Gretchen's car in his driveway and like his entire demeanor changes and he's like, oh my god, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
And then he can't believe that the charade is still going on when he comes inside.
Okay, here's the thing. He tells Skylar that Gray Matter is like practically broke.
Yes.
He's not going to look into that in any way. Like,
no, she's not going to Google it.
It's a publicly traded company, but like, it should be fairly obvious if somebody is like going broke. Like, it's not like they're selling their fucking company or something. Like
in season 5, Walt, like in the dinner scene when Jesse comes to dinner with him and Skylar, before Skylar gets there, he's telling Jesse that he looks up how much they're worth online like every single day. So, and we know Skylar will not get off the computer to give her husband a hand job. So how is she not Googling this shit?
Right.
What a stupid lie.
It actually makes sense because if you look at what happens with Ted Beneke, he buys expensive cars and shit when he has literally no money and huge debts.
Spoiler alert.
I'm totally willing to say like that totally happens where like you put up a front of being successful, being perfectly fine, but you're really broke. That totally happens. But there's got to be some form of like being able to see if they're publicly traded. It'll be obvious. If they're not, like, I don't know. It should be pretty clear that they're really not.
Yeah, why didn't Skylar pull out her iPhone and say, I don't know, Walt, it says that they're up 7% on the NASDAQ today.
Well, they're all lying about it, okay? It's just like Tesla. It's all a castle of lies. It's actually worth nothing. It's only that.
Should we talk about the episode that I believe was the first Emmy that the show won?
Oh, wow.
Is that true for the Peekaboo episode? Didn't that win an Emmy for best writing?
Let's see.
I think it did. Everidge, when you said that you know, Jesse's your go-to character, you relate to him, I was hoping that you would play Peekaboo with me because it seemed like a lot of fun in the episode.
Yeah, that seems great.
Did we see if this has won any Emmys for that episode?
Doesn't look like it did.
Oh, I could have sworn it did, but I guess I'm full of shit. But for some reason, I remember that episode. It got some sort of praise or acclaim or award or
Aaron
something.
Paul was nominated for Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor
For that
this
episode? Okay.
Yeah, but he didn't win. It doesn't look like it.
Is this anybody's favorite episode of the season?
No.
No, I like the peekaboo episode. I like Jesse standing outside the house holding the gun saying, "Oh, where's my money, bitch?" And then the mail, like the mailman comes up. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so incompetent. Like, yeah, what if they open the door and they or if they're near, they just hear you saying, "Where's my money, bitch?" Like, yeah, that'll work out well. Just give it away already.
Is the meth baby too cartoonish, or is this a realistic depiction?
I think a lot of that stuff is a bit broad for me.
Like there's only one channel on the TV, and it's like the Costco knife channel. Like, check out these blades, and like the kid just wants to sit there and watch it all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the couple as well, I think, are a bit broad, but it works. It's fine.
A bit too wacky for methed out crazy people. How do you steal an ATM machine?
Oh yeah, I guess that part was the most comedic thing. Yeah, how do they boost them every time?
Yeah, and like crushing your husband's head because he called you a skank. You know,
skank so many times.
It's pretty good.
Well, he was very annoying about it. Okay.
Yeah, that part is almost like comedic, where he's just like skank, 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 and he's like, it's just,
I will crush you.
My man's booge deserved better.
And then, like, when Jesse's leaving, suddenly the ATM just magically opens without any help, and all the money falls out. And then Jesse dials 911 and doesn't say anything, and less than 2 minutes later, we hear police sirens coming to the house.
Yeah, the police do not answer that fucking quick.
And they don't send wailing sirens with just like a random phone call with nobody talking. They would just pull up to the house quietly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whatever. But otherwise, great episode.
Yeah, I do like that episode overall. I like putting Jesse in that situation. Yeah, it's cool.
It's a pretty rough episode to watch, though. Jesus.
It really is.
What's so rough about it, Florian?
Florian, did you have a similar upbringing to...
I think he did.
Wow.
That's why he likes shitty media, because he only had one channel as a kid. He had to convince himself it was good.
Yeah, okay, Mr. She-Hulk lover.
That's right. I want to hear you talk about what perturbed you about this episode, Florian.
Well, I mean, it was just so much, and these horrible methods, you know? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just so hard to watch, and like everything just becomes so stupid, you know. Even Jesse like completely forgets what he's even supposed to do, and he's just like trying to take care of this kid, and it's it's just so awful.
You would not have tried to help the child. You would have just, attacked his parents.
I mean, like, if you're gonna... you should probably make up your mind whether or not you're gonna help the child or rob the parents, you know? Maybe don't do both, okay?
Well, this is Jesse's character in a nutshell, is that he has a heart of gold and he loves children. You know, we see that a little bit with his brother in season 1, and we get Meth Baby in season 2, and eventually we'll get Brock and, all those.
Yeah. Florian, if these people were your tenants in one of your properties and they paid their rent every week on time or every month on time, I don't know if you charge weekly rent, but would you keep them in the property?
No, obviously.
No? I don't care if they're smoking the mess with their baby as long as they pay the money.
No, they're gonna wreck this place. I've made this mistake.
The place is wrecked.
Well, yeah, but it's only going to get worse. Like,
but what if they stole an ATM machine and offered you a whole bundle of cash? Would you, you'd look the other way?
Wow. Probably not. I don't know.
Wow. What if you found out that one of your tenants was 7 months pregnant and smoking? Would you kick her out? Or would you say, oh, well, her husband told a white lie, so it's okay?
Wow, yeah, I keep getting hung up on those 3.5 cigarettes. Jeez. Yep, she's definitely gonna make another Walt Jr., I guess.
How do you think Walt got lung cancer? Skyler was blowing smoke down his throat while he slept.
Every day, yeah.
That's right.
I hate Skylar because of my Breaking Bad fan fiction that I've written about the character.
Yes.
He's responsible for every bad thing in this show.
I mean, he has lung cancer and she's a smoker. You know, I'm seeing some connections. I bet Holly is going to be born with lung cancer too at this point.
Well, I mean, I guess we see her be fine, don't we? I don't know.
It's hard to tell if a
takes a
baby has
while
lung
to-
cancer, I guess.
Yeah, it takes. Well, I mean, you can't have lung cancer. It takes way too long to develop.
Well, speaking of Skylar shenanigans, she decides to go get a job now that they're not getting all that free gray matter money, and she's going back to Beneke, baby. We get the introduction of Beneke. We get introduction to a lot of fan favorite characters. Like when Jesse gets his apartment, we get to meet Jane. You know, Jesse's Jane. Who do we like better, Jane or Beneke?
Jane, clearly.
Oh. That might be your fetish talking, E-Rich. For extremely skinny goth girls.
No, she's like no nonsense. She's like willing to give. Well, it's funny. She's no nonsense, but she's definitely willing to give Jesse a couple of. Is she giving him all these breaks because he's?
Because she has daddy issues. She's never good enough for her dad. And Jesse gives the same exact sob story. Like, my parents kicked me out and they don't believe in me. And she relates to that so much that, you know, that's how they form that bond.
Right.
Walt pretends to be Jesse's dad at one point. Jesse says that his name is Jesse Jackson.
Jesse Jackson. Great.
Yeah.
I do love the end of this episode being like, Jesse has bought this new TV. He's psyched to like show it off, and like the fucking satellite won't connect. Like, that is such a good like. You can have it all on yet.
Yeah. Surprisingly
Call back
enough,
to the meth, baby. No satellite.
surprisingly enough, I don't like Jane that much, but I do. I don't like Ted either. So it's a real.
Are you
real
all
pickle.
fucking Jane haters?
Jane's
Florian,
fine.
what do you think of Jane?
Well, she's kind of alright, but she is like a fairly stupid person. I like how Jesse just easily manipulates her. She just like out of the blue tells him, I got huge daddy issues, and he's like, yeah, my parents kicked me out. No lie, bro.
But Jesse's being honest there.
I know, but
And
still,
they're
they
both
just
like
brought it up
recovering.
in response.
They're both like, you know, former drug users and, you know, recovering from that. Like, we'll find out she's like a heroin, you know, and all that. But I do like, you know, this blossoming romance. I think they're a good match for each other, even though they'll ultimately ruin each other's lives a little bit, you know, down the road. But for now, hey, who does not want to be a weed smoking, you know, loser with the super hot goth GF? Like, that's the dream.
Well, I should say that just because I think that she's stupid doesn't mean I don't like her, all right?
It doesn't mean you don't think she's hot.
Well, that's not it. She's not even that much my type, but yeah, you know, like she's an interesting character and she's sincere, so that's nice.
I guess I'm the only one who actively dislikes her. What a surprise!
You hate all women, yes.
Well, Hartsy, I want you to elaborate on your Jane hatred, because we are not at the part where she's blackmailing Walt yet. So what do you hate her for?
Okay,
far?
I don't. Yeah, so far there's nothing. I'm indifferent at this point. At this point, if I was a new viewer, I would be indifferent at this point.
Okay. She smokes
so every
cigarettes.
time-
That's pretty gross.
Yeah.
So as soon as she develops agency, that's when you start hating her, right?
Goth GFs get one free vice to me.
Yeah, heroin,
she can
not
smoke,
smoking
She
cigarettes.
can do heroin. She can, do something disgusting that I don't agree with.
Also, I'm not going to say that she's too tall, but Jesse is a short man, so, you know, he needs a shorter girl.
How tall is Jesse?
I think he's the same
tall is
height as
great.
me. I think he's like 5'7".
No, Aaron
Really?
Paul is like 5'9", I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Really? Because Walter
Yeah.
Hartwell White is supposed to be like 5'10" or 5'11", and he's like a head above Jesse.
Huh. I could have sworn Aaron Paul was 5'9", but he could be like 5'8".
I thought he was 5'7", but, you know.
It's maybe the Hollywood 5'9", which is of course a 5'7".
Yeah.
Let's not talk about height here, even though I think that tall women are more attractive
Okay.
genuinely. But let's talk about how Hartsy hates all loves everything that is evil and done by men. Like, why do you say that Walter is based? And don't act like that's a joke. I know that you wished you could cook meth and be
Yeah. These are all things I have thought and definitely have said out loud.
Yeah. As soon as Hartsy graduates, he's going to be my Jesse, and we're going to be cooking meth together out in some RV. And you're not getting a single penny, Florian.
Oh God, I don't. Yeah, it's probably for the best. I'm sure there's some kind of cartel looking for that money.
No,
you know?
Florian comes in later. Florian's the Madrigal guy.
The one who commits suicide after eating chicken nuggets?
Yes.
I thought he
What
would
is it,
be.
Grant?
He's Warner Zingler.
Yeah, he is.
No
Warner
way.
Ziegler.
Warner.
No, wait, that guy is has got a wife and he loves her. That would never be me.
Yeah, he basically committed suicide because he loved his wife too much.
Wait, Florian, did you just say he has a wife and he loves it?
Yeah, who's the misogynist now, motherfucker?
Florian really spelling it out for everyone.
Can we talk about the real plot hole of the season? Jesse has no money, but then he says he's going to go buy his new TV at Costco. I'm sorry, does he have a membership I don't know about? You have to have a
Maybe he's
membership to get in there.
Maybe he goes in on a membership with Stinky Pete and
Why blow an extra $60 getting the membership when you can go to Best Buy and get the same fucking TV? Plot hole.
Costco has lots of good deals.
Yeah, no Bravos today, Vince. You fucked up.
I still want to hear. Well, I want to hear Hartsy defend why Walter is all right. Come on.
Well, just
Because
go ahead.
because he's there's a lot of accounts that online that tell me he's based, and I believe everything that I read. So
I think from a moral standpoint, so far, just based on what we've seen so far, Walt is a better person than Jane.
so true.
He makes meth.
So far?
Yeah, I mean,
Why?
Jane, she's like, drawing pictures on her deck. Like, what a fucking bitch.
All right.
True.
Yeah, fuck off.
Are you a parody of Hartsy now? I'm
Yes.
confused.
She's a tattoo artist, and the Bible says that tattoos are signs of the devil.
Yeah, but she doesn't have any herself.
Yeah,
So
doesn't have
she
any-
can still get into heaven.
Holy fuck. I can't believe Hartsy has been beaten at his own game.
I like when Jesse tells her you're a real good drawer, and she says, she's like, oh yeah, you think I'm a good drawer?
Drawer. Yo, I would love it if a girl would correct me like that. That would fucking rule.
I don't think she corrected him. She was mocking him and just said it back to him.
Yeah. I mean, he should know. He when she says that, he should know that she's like.
No, I'm on Jesse's side. She is a drawer. Like, you don't need to be pretentious about fucking doodling, dude.
I mean,
Jane is drawing.
it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, it is drawing. It's not even incorrect. Not like when he said the cow house,
Cowhouse.
We have completely skipped the subplot of Jesse becoming the meth kingpin of Albuquerque, and he hires Skinny Pete and Badger and Combo to, start dealing out the meth. But is there really anything to say about that?
Yeah, it's amazing how fast it happens because. Like he brings up the idea, and then at the end of the episode, it's in full swing, and he brings Walt the first money. So wow, they
did kill Tuco, so now there is no meth in the streets. There's a vacuum that needs to be filled. So I imagine these tweakers were pretty desperate.
I'm actually surprised it works that way, considering that we've established that there is this big cartel presence, and I mean Tuca must have had. Oh wait, never mind. No, I'm stupid. It's because all of Tuca's guys were arrested. So yeah, there's definitely a power vacuum.
Yeah, and also Jesse and his friends are smoking meth all the time, so they're gonna have the connections. They're gonna know who's willing to buy, and then get connections from them. So I imagine it's pretty easy to find customers.
Wow.
I do like that montage they have of them selling the meth.
Yeah.
And then it immediately ends at one of the guys being robbed.
That leads us into the Peekaboo episode. I think we've covered all these episodes pretty well. Are there any final thoughts you guys had on the season so far?
Well, my favorite episode of the entire season, and even one of my favorite entire series, is coming up soon. So
Better Call Saul?
No, 4 Days Out. I love that episode to death.
Interesting. Cool.
Well,
It's a great episode, yeah.
Well, I ended up watching the episode Better Call Saul, so I thought we were going to talk about it.
Spoilers,
No,
dude!
we explicitly said
Everything before that
up
episode.
to that. Yeah.
I guess I remembered the number wrong. Oops.
Well, I hope you have it in your brain for the next month, because we will be back 1 month from now to talk about the rest of season 2.
Guess I'll have to rewatch that one episode.
We'll finally get to meet Saul and Mike for about 2 minutes, and Gus will show up at some point, I believe.
And we're about to get into the show really entering into its like glory days.
1.5 seasons in, and we're finally learning the actual main character of the universe.
That is right.
Finally get Saul Goodman.
I really enjoyed these episodes. I think the show is going from strength to strength. It's really investing in the characters and really putting them up against the wall and showing them what it takes to be in this meth game. So I'm interested to see where it goes from here.
It's pretty interesting how it goes from fairly fast-paced action and fairly fast-paced things happening to really slow Walt trying to lie about it to his family, and it just goes on forever.
I'm actually thinking about what you just said, Florian, and like I haven't really gave it thought, but it's really insane that like a funny side character becomes like basically the main character of the franchise.
Right?
Yep.
I could definitely say you could argue that Saul becomes the main focus of this whole thing.
Yeah.
And he's my favorite character.
Yeah, same. Without a doubt.
So is there anyone who kind of secretly wishes that Walt would have stayed alive and we would have instead followed his story some more?
No.
Nah.
Jimmy is like, if Walt is a 3-dimensional character, Jimmy's 4-dimensional. Like, he brings so much more to it.
Yeah.
Hey, Walt is 3-dimensional?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, I think that is it for this installment of the Breaking Bad Rewatch podcast. Do you guys have anything you would like to plug?
Well, everyone check out my channel, Himsel Games. I got podcasts and I got reviews of stuff, including Rick and Morty, so please check it out.
Hartsy, you've had 2 new videos on your channel.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Hartsy Part 2 on YouTube. I'm actually uploading now.
What is the most recent upload that everybody should go check out?
Well, the ramen video is just pretty much a shit post. So I would go watch my review of the video game Bone Lab. I really like that video.
And Erich, what videos do you have coming out soon?
My Scorn playthrough coming up pretty soon.
Oh, cool.
I love Eager, so you get to watch me do some weird shit with fucking dicks.
You got a Twitter or something?
He's not putting up with a lie.
Shut up, Florian. Fucking get me on Twitter at TZARREVAN. Come by and talk to me about. Shut up. If you are a boyfriend-free goth GF, hit me up.
Yeah, if you look like Jane, call Erich immediately.
Holla at me, please.
If you're a good drawer.
I bought into the lie, okay? I saw a score on Twitter, so I assumed it was actually happening, okay? Jeez.
The day Erich starts making YouTube videos is the day I retire. At that point, I've been bested at my own game.
You've been replaced for real.
Yeah, he will make the exact same type of content I've always made.
Well, that would be hard to see.
I want to hear Erich do like a classic Mumkey Jones yelling voice, like "Hey, everybody!" But I don't know if Erich is capable.
One day.
Yeah, that video, Erich's Anime Reviews, Volume 1, coming out soon. Bye, everybody.
Tribute
Goodbye.
video.
Hartsy did not say goodbye, so we're going to wait for him.
Oh, sorry. Goodbye.
Wow, finally we can end.